Hey everybody, today we're going to talk about some of the questions that we get all the time from viewers emailing, calling, and texting us. You know, how much does this cost? Do they really have alligators there? All kinds of stuff like that, right?
That one and the bugs. That's
bugs.
Probably the most common.
Those are the big
for sure.
two, right? For sure.
If we haven't met, I'm Jeff. This is Mark Woodward, Charleston area living. Work the Charleston whole market here, really focusing on Summerville. And today we're going to go over a few questions. One of our viewers on YouTube sent us a list with a bunch of fantastic questions.
Yes,
thank you. So we're going to go through some of those. And actually, his list is so inclusive. We're going to turn this into several different videos because if he was wondering these things, and we get these questions all the time, we thought you might want to know too.
Yeah. So what's the biggest one? The alligator thing, right?
Alligator, yeah, for sure. It's funny. I was over in Moncks Corner yesterday with the clients, and we were just talking about alligators, and a little 4.5 footer swam right by the house.
Oh, is it by the models?
Yeah.
Nice. So we do get alligators. They're not, coming and ringing your doorbell. We have had one of those in Moncks Corner.
Yeah, that was cool to see.
Yeah, but that's not an everyday thing. We don't get them here as much as like the Hilton Head and the Bluffton area. There are some monsters down there for sure.
And there are some up in Lake Moultrie and Lake Marion here, which is just kind of on the other side of Moncks Corner. There's some big boys out there.
Yeah, if you go swimming there and you get eaten or nipped by an alligator, it's your own fault.
Yeah, it's just encourage your mother-in-law to go swimming up in Lake Moultrie whenever you can, and just you stay out of it.
Yeah, but we do have them here. If they become a problem, usually the DNR removes them.
Yeah.
Don't feed them chicken. Don't try to get a selfie with them.
Yeah, no,
you'll be okay.
Good. I just flashed back into medic mode there from a DNR. Do you know what that stands for?
No. Do not resuscitate?
Yeah, see, you do know. Yeah. Yes. I'm like, what are you talking about? Do not resuscitate orders.
Is it a DNR?
Yeah.
Department of National Resources.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
The same thing. They do not resuscitate the alligators when they take them out of the... And actually, I don't think... They don't kill them. They just move them to a nice little alligator farm way out in the country, and they relocate
Alligator
them.
heaven.
They take them to alligator heaven. No, actually, they do take them out to other... Put them, so we send them down to Hilton Head. We sent all the nasty ones down there.
So I think the number 2 thing that people always ask about is, hey, do you guys have those screened-in pools like they do in Florida?
Yeah, the bird
How bad
cages.
are the bugs here, right?
I was surprised, and these were my 3 questions when I moved here. Tell me about the bugs. We're going to talk about the hurricanes in a minute, and the alligators. And it just has not ended up being as bad, nearly as bad as I thought it would be. So much so that Andrew and I, our first house, we had a screened-in porch, and after living here for 10 years, when we built our next house, we didn't even screen in the porch, and actually yours isn't either. So living here, and I live on a lake. So
and I live in the woods.
Yeah, you're in the woods, and you got a pool up back. Beautiful. Your backyard is way prettier than mine is, but yeah, it just hasn't been a thing. That being said, most of our clients do choose to screen in their back porches.
Yeah.
It does provide some privacy also, and but it just has not been. Now, maybe down towards the coast a little bit more. I did get lit up by mosquitoes one day having lunch at Shem Creek.
Yeah, if you're down in Mount Pleasant or Johns Island, I feel like the bugs are a little bit worse down there just because of all the water. There's water everywhere down there, right? But up here, one of the reasons I don't like to screen in was actually your idea is, cleaning and pressure washing.
Yeah.
It's so much easier just to pressure wash it than to try to have to clean
pollen
the screen.
Season. It's raining yellow down here,
and the dog thing, right? Opening up 2 doors.
So we just opened the door, let Cheetah go outside, and that way we don't have to go open the second screen door to let her out, and that's just pure laziness on my part. Listen, if she doesn't like it, she should learn how to use the bathroom inside the house.
Well, that's why you moved here.
It is, for sure. And last one is hurricanes. So listen. This is South Carolina. It's possible the monster comes again someday. Hugo.
Yep. What was that, 89?
I think it was
1989 or 1980, one of those.
I graduated high school that year.
That one came all the way up here to Summerville.
Yeah.
They had power outages for a couple weeks. It was stressful for people. You had to boil the water on your gas stove or on your campfire and stuff like that. There were a lot of people that couldn't get back in for at least a week. So my wife lived through that here, and I know it was scary. So that's what people remember when they think hurricane.
Yeah.
But since then, we really haven't had to leave except for
I've been
left
here
once.
For 13 years. I left twice, but I didn't need to. It was almost an excuse to take the kids down to Disney.
Do a vacation.
Yeah.
Hurricane.
And the other one, we went up and visited people in Pittsburgh. So I didn't need to leave. I've had in 13 years one stretch of about 12 hours without power, and then a couple other times it would flash, and I had once got for 40 minutes. All the neighborhoods here, really now all the power's underground, so that's a lot different than it was back when Hugo came through. So I just don't like. We even talked about putting a Generac on my house. And
Don't really need it.
My neighbor came over to me and said, "Hey, listen, do what you want to do, but you might want to jump on the neighborhood Facebook page and talk to people that have been here forever and ask them how long they've lost power in this neighborhood." And I quickly decided not to do a generator.
So you realize that the 12 hours you lost power does not equal 25,000.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Because listen, those generators, they're $10,000. They're not $10,000. They're closer to 20 by the time you're done, because you do a
wire it into your
maintenance
house
contract and wiring in and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So it just hasn't been a big deal for us. And even if one did come in from the coast, we are far enough inland that unless it was that Hugo monster. We just kind of get a little windy and rainy out here, and we actually had one come up through Tampa, through the Panhandle, and it was a tropical storm by the time it got here last year. And I just sat out on the porch and watched the rain. It was beautiful.
It was kind of neat.
It was.
Yeah. All right. So what's the next?
All right.
thing
So
that we're gonna
on
talk
his
about?
list here, county taxes. So we're dealing with three
Property
different property taxes. And most of our clients end up in Berkeley or Dorchester County, so I'm going to talk about those the most. But this being said, when we're giving you examples of the county taxes, I'm going to say that most of our home buyers are in the $2,000 to $3,500 a year range on the taxes.
Right. Not a month, a year.
Not a month. Yeah, we did have one lady from New Jersey or Connecticut that said, "Oh,
I think it was
$1,800 that's a month." And we're like, "No, a year." She made me show it to her.
Yeah.
So Dorchester County is a little bit higher than Berkeley County, but in my opinion, not enough to keep you from staying out of Dorchester County. It really is pretty minimal.
Yeah.
There are some special assessment districts, and there's actually more than we've actually talked about in the past, because there's some that just have such a small amount that it doesn't really matter. So Carnes, where I live, has a small one.
Yep.
Sangree here in Summerville, right across from our office, has a very small one.
Yeah.
The two that come into play that are larger than most are $800 or $900, and those are over at Moncks Corner.
Yep.
So that does incorporate the Horizons that we do a lot of business in, and then an overall one in Nexton of $800 or $900. And that is a lot of neighborhoods here in Summerville are covered under that one. And so if you live in those two, it's going to be a little higher.
And those could go on for several years, right? Isn't there like a...
Yeah, how often do you hear of taxes going away?
Right. So it could go up slightly.
Yeah.
There's no guarantee on those special assessments. There is a Dorchester County and a Berkeley County calculator. So if you want to go onto those, berkeleycounty.org or whatever, and look for that calculator, and then just make sure you're plugging in the right tax district.
Yeah.
So if you are looking to move to Horizons and you want to know the true cost, make sure you click on Moncks Corner.
Yep.
Otherwise, it's not going to include the proper taxes for that area.
But I think one of that 2,000 to 3,500 range is a pretty good estimate of the vast majority of homes that we sell here. If you had in Nexton we're getting close to $1 million on some of the homes in Nexton now.
Yes.
It may be creep over the 3,500 number, but we're in the ballpark for sure.
Yeah.
The only other thing that we get asked about a lot is specifically Cane Bay, because there's so many neighborhoods. 24?
23, yeah.
23 in Cane Bay. There is an extra 2 HOA fees in there.
Yeah.
And not taxes, but HOA fees. Mark, talk about those.
Yeah, so the master plan community that does the entrance and the drive-in and the sidewalks, going down Cane Bay Plantation, that's about $115 a year. So just a year. So it's not a huge number there, but it just kind of beautifies that whole area going up and down. Beautifies.
Nice word.
Thank you.
I like that.
And then if your neighborhood or subsection is a part of the lakes at Cane Bay, there's another $150 per year to be part of that lake. There's a 350-acre lake that has a golf cart trail around it, and just to keep up the beautification of the waterways. you have to pay that.
And that in a lot of our clients are moving into Four Seasons over there, and so that $275 fee a month for all the amenities, the pools, the pickleball, all that, the lawn maintenance, that lakes fee is actually included in that $275.
Yep. So you just have the $275 a month plus the $115 a year.
Beautification. I'm so proud of that word.
That's our word of the day.
There are some things that can never be beautified.
What's that?
My mother-in-law.
Oh my.
Cannot polish a turd.
Hey, listen. You never know. People change. You just never know.
No, I do know. Don't. All right,
it's only been like 50 years that you've known this lady.
It's been 50 years since she's been 50. It's like 100 years. No, all right. All right, back to it. Flood insurance was another question that he had. So the vast majority of Summerville is not in actually the whole area it is a flood zone.
Yes.
This is the low country. But what we're looking for is the X flood zone. And the biggest majority of Summerville is in an X flood zone. So what that means is if you have a mortgage, you do not have to have flood insurance on your house. You can choose to do so, but you don't have to.
In an X flood zone.
In an X flood zone. Yeah, There's AE and other higher flood zones that you would have to have flood insurance. So we can help you figure out what that would look like. But I live in Carnes Crossroads. You live in Cane Bay. Do you have flood insurance on your house?
I do not.
And neither do I.
Yep.
And so I've been here for 13 years. You've been here even longer.
Yep.
Haven't even come close to thinking that we would need that. So if you choose to have flood insurance, right now it's running $400 to $600 on most of these houses if you choose to have it. But the other thing that a lot of people don't think of is we do have a fault line here in Summerville that runs from Woodstock, New York, down to Cuba, and it kind of runs through Summerville here. So some people do choose to put earthquake insurance on their house.
I added mine.
Did you?
Yeah, I left it on and added it for now.
$500?
Yeah, I think it's $470 or something.
Okay,
like that.
yeah. So that is another insurance that you might want to do. I currently do not have it on my house. I did have it on my house at one point, and I had a bunch of rental properties. Not a bunch. I had 3 rental properties, and so I knew if there ever was an earthquake, I'd be destroyed financially if there was a big one.
Sure.
But now that I just have the one house,
you're chancing it.
I am. Yeah.
You're being a little risque.
Yeah. Risque.
I'm dropping the words today, baby.
Oh my
dropping
God.
the words.
Please, you don't want me to be risque in this. So, flood insurance is something that we do talk with people about. It's up to you. You know,
some of these neighborhoods, you might see on the tax records that they used to be in AE flood zone, but they built them up so much.
Right.
Like over in Horizons, for example, if you look at the tax map for a particular property in Horizons, it might still say AE, but they've brought in dirt and loaded it up and built them up high enough to where they can now be a X flood zone per the Army Corps of Engineers.
Army Corps of Engineers, yeah.
So,
all right, let's do 2 more. How about HOA fees? What's the range of lowest to highest mostly in Summerville?
Yeah, so I would say for 55 plus, it goes anywhere from $250 a month all the way up to I think $340, right?
Yep.
Yeah, $340 a month, and probably the 2 highest there are Horizons, and then Cane Bay Del Webb is just over $300 because it includes the.
They actually give you credit
like
for
a cable credit,
garbage and a couple things.
Yeah, and then for the non-55 plus, you're pretty much right around $700 to $1,100-$1,200.
Yep.
For the newer neighborhoods, obviously some of the older neighborhoods built in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s, they're a little bit less.
Some as low as a couple $100 that don't have a pool.
Yeah.
But it's so. Lowest, a couple $100 a year if there is one, to a maximum of like $1,200 a year, $100 a month for HOAs. You think?
Yeah, I think so.
And then there's just a big difference in what the amenities are in these neighborhoods. So obviously, the bigger the neighborhood, the more people paying fees into that, the more stuff they can have.
Right.
So you've got a newer neighborhood like Pine Hills, for instance, that has water slide and a fishing
pools.
pier, different pools. Really great neighborhood in the back of Cane Bay. And then there's some that, like your neighborhood in the Oaks.
Yep.
They're just a nice little community pool, totally big enough though.
Little pavilion.
for the size of the neighborhoods.
Yes.
So they do a really good job at building the amenity centers to the size of the neighborhoods.
Yeah, we only have 300 homes in
Is that what
my
it is?
community.
Yeah.
And so it's got the playground, the swings, and then the pavilion and the pool.
All right, let's talk about gated communities.
Yes.
How many gated? So the majority are 55 plus.
Yep.
But there are a few in the Summerville area that are gated.
Like Coosaw Creek, right?
Coosaw Creek, it's a country club, beautiful golf course.
Got to be a part of the country club. You got to pay
do.
the dues for the restaurants
Yep.
and all of that stuff. But it's gorgeous.
It really is.
Bigger lots there, bigger
Yeah.
homes,
And the homes themselves are really,
reasonably priced.
I think they are. And I think that's kind of a function of it does cost so much in the HOA to be in there because you've got to be a part of the golf membership.
I did it out on paper one time.
Yeah.
What it costs, and it was $5,600 a year.
Really?
For the golf club, the quarterly dues for your food.
Yep.
And then the regular HOA fee.
Yep.
It was $5,600.
You have to spend a certain amount of money at the clubhouse
Right.
in food.
Yep.
So out of that $5,600, you get you a bunch of hot dogs at the turn, but
And
still
and
something.
some great golf.
And they
I
got
mean,
some-
it's a gorgeous golf.
They do have some big alligators over there.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's
there's
true.
some big ones in there.
Yeah.
So the different 55 pluses have different versions of gated communities also. Some of them are staffed 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them I don't even know why they have a gate because I've never seen it closed.
Right.
Some of them are gated, but they're not staffed. They're only staffed like 12 hours a day, and you have a scanner on your car. When you pull up, it reads the barcode.
Yep.
And I wonder if you could get that barcode tattooed on your arm.
Just walk through with
Yeah,
your bike.
yeah, just
Ride
pull
through?
up and show the guns and
Yeah.
see if somebody ever does that. I promise you, we'll do a video on YouTube about that if you want to try it out. And then, is there any other gated that are non-55 besides Coosaw in Summerville?
I don't think so.
I can't think of any.
I can't think of one.
Yeah.
There's that in the ponds. There's that little 55 plus. I think it has a gate, but I've always seen it open.
It's always open, yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of pointless to have a gate that's
Yeah.
always open, but
Right.
maybe someday.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, all right, those are top 5 or 7 things that people have asked us over the years. There's a whole list here that our good friends sent us that we're going to get into more. But we want to start today with knocking those out here a little bit. If you have questions on these or you want to chat with us, Mark, what's the easiest way to make that happen?
So the easiest way is for us to be face to face. And you might say, Mark, I'm in Seattle or I'm in Japan. How do I do that? Down in the description, click on the link. It says book a Zoom call with us. We can be face to face over Zoom. They usually take 30 to 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
We get to learn about you. You get to learn about us. We get to know all about the lifestyle that you want to live, the budget you want to live here for, and then that way we can match it both of those things to the neighborhood or the community that would best fit you. And we have 2 main goals here, right? Like, what's our 2 main goals?
I want you super excited about the right house on the day of close, and I don't want you stressing about the money.
Yep.
Like those are just, if we haven't gotten those 2 done, we feel like we failed. I do find it interesting that you brought up Japan and Seattle when you said people were, because we do actually have people from Seattle
Yeah.
and Japan right now moving here. But I would say the vast majority of the higher percentage would be all over the Northeast, right?
Yeah.
We've got Connecticut, New Jersey, Massachusetts,
Yeah.
Rhode Island.
But we've
Pennsylvania,
literally had
New
it from
York.
everywhere. I mean, down in Louisiana we've had.
Yeah.
We've had Colorado. We've had Wyoming.
Yep. We met with our first people this week from Idaho.
Idaho. Yeah. That was our first one from Idaho.
I think it was, yeah.
Yeah,
What's
yeah.
one state that we haven't talked to yet?
We had Arizona.
I got one.
Okay.
Arkansas.
Did
Arkansas.
We haven't really had Arkansas?
I don't think we've had Arkansas.
Wow, maybe you're right. We have Missouri for sure.
Yeah.
Huh.
We test mark. We make them spell every state that we.
Oh my God. Fail. Fail.
So do us a favor, like and subscribe this video. We'll get more content to you. That way it pops up on your screen. Really want to talk with you, not just when you're ready to come here, but before you're ready to come here, so we can be sending you homes that we think work for your criteria, what you're looking for. Thanks for watching. Leave us a note here. Let us know if you enjoyed this. We'll see you in the next one.
Bye-bye.